In just 4 days, I'm gonna be done with my first bodybuilding style cut. And yes, that means I'm ending my cut on Thanksgiving. It's gonna be the best Thanksgiving meal ever. Now, for those not in the know, a cut hits at the difference between weight loss and fat loss. With weight loss, you're just trying to get as much mass off your body, but when you're cutting, you're performing fat loss, which means you want all that mass to come from fat. So a cut really burns the candle on both ends because you have to lock in your diet so that you're losing fat, and then really lock in your performance at the gym and push it so that your body has a reason to retain all of that muscle. Cutting is challenging because you're pushing your physical limits while also literally starving yourself. So you have to prepare for battle. But the battle isn't against a dragon or some unknown foe. It's against you. And you know yourself, you know your mind, and you have to prep for psychological warfare as your mind is throwing haymaker after haymaker to tell you, please do not let us starve, sir. Please, just one burger, one morsel of fries is all I ask. So how can we effectively fight this psychological battle? Well, I've come up with 3 tricks that I've applied during my cut, which have been super successful for me, and I'd like to share with you. 1, you have to eat like an adult. Eating is psychological just as much as it is physiological. Your mom was right. If you eat slowly and really focus on your food, you're gonna be a lot more full. Why do you think guys like Joey Chestnut and Matt Stoney can eat so much in such a small amount of time? It's because they are a hot dog consuming factory, and that doesn't really give the body time to process that it's full. If you instead literally look at your food, eat slowly, focus on the meal instead of Netflix, that will have a psychological effect that signals satiety. The second component of eating like an adult is picking adult style foods, because what you eat, the time it takes to chew on it, the amount of fiber that it has a big impact on how full you feel. So you can just easily life hack your way to having a much more comfortable day by eating chicken and by throwing more greens in, and not just eating, something like a potato chip, which is gonna be extremely salty and it's gonna be like, I need more, and I'm even more hungry. But sometimes eating like an adult and sort of good concrete food choices is not enough alone. Your mind is wily, so you need to be ready to leverage the dark arts of the placebo effect against it. The second trip is placebos. Placebos are kind of one of the craziest things in psychology because your mind just acts like something is true if you lie to it, and it will run with it. For instance, there have been studies that they told athletes they were getting steroids. They were not actually getting steroids, but the body responded like it was getting steroids. How can we use this extremely powerful effect to our advantage? Well, one simple way is by using things like chewing gum. If you're chewing, your body will just feel full. Another way is to address cravings with tools like diet soda to create a placebo of having something sweet to sort of stave off those cravings. The most complex way I've come up with is using placebos around pre-workout meals and meal timing. So it turns out that they've studied carbs before workouts improve performance, but the amount of carbohydrate is actually irrelevant. In fact, some studies show that if you have and then spit out the carbs, you get the same boost. So what I like to do is not spit out the carbs because I don't want to waste my food, but I'll have a very small amount of banana before my workout, then most of it after, so that I can save most of the food for the rest of the day to recharge me, but still get that placebo to boost my performance in the gym. Unfortunately, even the best food choices and strategic use of placebos on a fat loss diet, some things are unavoidable and they're coming at you like a roaring train. So my final tip is to psychologically prepare yourself and set expectations for a few things. Because if you don't set them, your mind is gonna hit the escape pod button. The first thing to expect is that you're gonna look flatter. The body fills up muscles using water and carbohydrate to fill up your glycogen stores. That's what gives you a strong, full look. When you're not consuming a lot of food, the glycogen stores go down, so you look flat. For a lot of people, that might be the time to say, oh, I can't do my diet anymore, I've lost too much muscle. You haven't, your mind is tricking you. Do not fall for its magic. Additionally, you need to proactively plan for stress management. Anything that normally stresses you in life is just gonna be up to 10 on a fat loss diet because you are starving and your body is really going to want to avoid that stress. And it's especially challenging because many of us, myself included, need to do the fat loss diet because food has been that emotional response to stress before. And if you aren't ready with a proactive stress management plan, you could very easily fall off the wagon. So I encourage you to think about ways you can incorporate in relaxation that you like. I've used walks. Those have been great for me. Make sure your sleep schedule is on point. And then the third and final thing to be ready for is that, holy cow, water will troll you. What I mean by this is water weight fluctuates insanely. I've seen my scale fluctuate up to 7 pounds in 1 week due to water weight. So it is important to weigh yourself every day, but expect for the water weight to be all over the place. And really what you want to be watching is the weekly trend rather than the day-to-day. If you know that the water weight makes the scale an unreliable narrator, you can avoid some of the sort of psychological harm that comes from seeing a number go up because it's just water weight. If you're eating in a calorie deficit, I promise you the mass is going off. Again, do not fall for the wily mind trying to get you off the wagon. So those are some of the psychological tools I've used in my fat loss journey, and I hope you can apply them in yours. If you're looking for the #1 exercise change I made to lose almost 20 pounds of fat from this change alone, check out my video here.